Can't relate though.
All right. So first off, congratulations to your team Jailbait for getting a domination win. Uh, that puts you guys, you know, close to the top three. I think it'll land you in position number four for Division A East.
hmm Thank you or for congratulating us on that win. We're actually pretty proud of it because our captain was out of town, and we had a new player play his first game with us this season.
Oh wow. And have you guys gotten in any practice in before the actual match with the new player?
No, well, we've had
Oh,
one last week after our last game. We played it with four of the normal players and him, but not with
okay.
the full team that played tonight. So yeah, I was actually really impressed. I'm pretty proud of them for playing so well.
So who's the new player?
Storm Killer.
Okay, yeah. So if you never played with him before, based on what I saw, he played really well in general. Um, his Arthas on blitzes to Hawk in the first game, he laid the smackdown on blitz. I gotta say.
He really did. He was pretty proud of that as well.
So that first game, I actually have to ask why the Arthas pick though. Even though it worked really well for you guys, why the Arthas pick?
So our thought was that the Arthas roots were really good against their team comp, and it could kind of like set them in one spot, and then that coupled with the Maiev allowed us to really dump a lot of our damage all in one area.
Okay, that sounds reasoning there. Um, were you surprised by how little racing they actually were able to accomplish on the side of Witch Rhythm?
Yeah, so we were actually kind of scared of the Hanzo pick because he's really good on that map. Though I really think that because I was, doing most of the poke on our Immortal, but our team did such a good job of zoning them out and keeping them off the range of the Immortals. So yeah, I mean, we were surprised that it couldn't race as well, but it went pretty good.
Yeah, it definitely did. Now, were were you guys a little worried there for a moment after they secured those three kills on your team, and they had, I believe, everyone up, maybe one person down, and the
In the
Immortals,
first game,
yeah, and the Immortals had just spawned too. So you,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So yes, that was definitely like, oh shit, like could have gone better, but we we're surprisingly calm for our team. So we were like, okay, let's just like regroup and collect our strategy here and then keep going. So yeah, but they definitely landed some good kills there in that play.
yeah, I think immediately after they managed to get a kill on you, but then your team actually turns on them and gets both Chromie and Hanzo pretty much erased from the game.
Yeah, that it was the mosh pit, right? At that one.
Yeah, then the
Yeah.
follow up mosh pit, and I think you guys marched to core after that because you just
Yep.
deleted them all
Yeah.
from the game.
Yeah, that's how I'd like to call it. Deleted. That's a good one.
So were you expecting that game to go so smoothly overall, or you said you were worried about the Hanzo, but like you guys seem to be just like walking through that match overall like a cakewalk.
So I wouldn't say we were expecting it to go nearly as smoothly. Like I said, like I mean, this was kind of a new team comp even for us tonight with just the actual players.
Okay.
But I mean, that map is one of the ones that we play more often. And we were probably on top of our game tonight. I think we played pretty well.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. You guys looked pretty good. One of the things I mentioned is that you guys, in comparison to Witch Rhythm, as a team, were generally in BOE making better rotations and better like macro decisions on when to pick up camps, and were basically like 5 seconds faster, if you will, in decision making compared to Witch Rhythm.
That could probably be attributed to Joe yelling at us to go do that.
So is Joe then your shot caller who uses?
No, no, he's not. I mean, maybe he'd like to say that. You'd have to ask him.
So is he the pseudo shot caller through I guess being a drill sergeant?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could call him the pseudo shot caller. That would be a good name for Joe.
So how do you guys do your shot calling? I like to ask teams because it's you know very it differs by team very heavily. There's teams that have, kind of like a democratic thing. Some that have the Larang style where they tell you everywhere and everything you need to do for each individual member.
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. So, I mean, I could paint you a picture. So, usually one person makes a shot, and then everyone else is like, no, I think we should do this. And then somebody else agrees with the original person, says, no, we should do that. And then somebody else yells at another person, and then we all eventually end up doing kind of the same thing, sort of. And it somehow works for us. But yeah, I think we would like to have a more like democratic, like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, and all agree. But that rarely happens. But I would say in general, our team seems pretty open to, you know, respecting everyone's opinions here. And then we definitely do talk a lot about strategy. And so we're able to kind of make a collective decision most times in the game.
Yeah, that if that's working for you guys and you're trying to just kind of, I guess, get it a little more democratic, then keep at it. And it's probably the hardest thing in my experience, comms and deciding what shot calling works for you, because
Yeah.
yeah, everyone's different, every player's different, and even if you think your shot calling is not working and you want to try something different, there's a good chance the new style won't even work for you. Right? So hopefully you do reach that kind of like milestone, because it'll definitely be smoother. Because like you were saying, it sounded like there's a brief time frame where people are trying to decide what to do, and the faster you guys come to those decisions, obviously the better your rotations will become as well.
Definitely. And I would like to give a shout out to our usual captain who wasn't here tonight, but he does do a really good job about usually, keeping us on track. I think that there is something to be said though for like taking a well-rounded point of view for a lot of the plays during the game to pick which strategy is best.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely true. So do you take that same approach in drafting as a team, like where it's a discussion about who to pick, or is there kind of like a few people who generally handle most of the draft?
It's very much a discussion in draft.
Okay, so were you guys surprised that they gave you Mayev both times in letter through?
So yes, I would say we were probably surprised on that one that they let her through both times. I think that the hot thing right now is to ban Phoenix, so we kind of took advantage of that.
So in game number two, things were a little bit more dicey. I felt like you guys were up at certain points, down at certain points, and then had some, like, I guess, really really high points because you won. And so walk me through the game and like kind of like what you guys were thinking in general, like at various points, like the various tributes, because I saw some really good teamwork in terms of body blocking for the tribute capture, and then obviously some weaker points where multiple members go down, versus which rhythm.
So definitely during that phase where I think we didn't get two tributes in a row, and then they got the first curse. And there, it was really important that when we got down, when they got those kills, that we didn't, get all mad or upset, or then still try to go in to get the trib. And instead, we kind of like regrouped and cleared lanes and tried to get experience so that we didn't get really far behind. And we communicated really well that that was what we should do. As far as the tributes that we won, yes, I think that our tanks and off tank did an excellent job bodying them out of the zone. And like Junkrat and Ming have all that poke, but they were doing a great job of like keeping the poke off of Stukov and off of Jaina that I was playing so that we could cap the point and get the tribute.
Yeah, it definitely looked. That was one of the more impressive moments because, as you said, like they had Li Ming and they had Junkrat. And normally, in my experience, you don't see such great coordination where it's not just the tank who's blocking; it's everyone on the team who's trying to ensure that the tribute capture goes through. And yeah, that was one of the prettier moments I've seen in a Cursed Hollow match.
Oh, well, thank you. That's so nice.
So when Stormkiller saw the boss being captured by Witch Rhythm, I from my perspective, I was like, okay, they're getting this boss. Like you guys are all the way bottom. You're taking the fort, and now you're rotating up after Stormkiller spotted out. Were you expecting to arrive there with them still fighting the boss at that point, with Stormkiller just really sitting there in the bush, kind of like, I don't know, waving hello to them?
I mean, yeah, there we definitely, because we had the boss, we kind of didn't expect for them to even contest that tribute, actually.
Mhm.
That was surprising. Yeah, that was an excellent play, though, there. I think we could burn the boss really quickly, and then we had the pressure on the bottom, and we could still go for the tribute.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my personal opinion was that you guys essentially won because of their misplay for going for their boss, or well, more like how they handled that situation after Stormkiller kind of showed up there. And after that, you guys kind of went from it was looking a little bit dicier to being really the ball was in your it was yeah in your court. Like you just kind of walked away with it, got the second boss, and got all those kills and finished them off.
Mhm. Yeah, like you said I saw the end of the cast, and yeah, I was playing Jaina, and I had less hero damage than their top 3 hero damage members, and I had the top on my team, which was kind of crazy. And like, yeah, it was definitely going dicey before that, but I think maybe they put too much stress on trying to get the individual kills, and we were able to
Mhm.
play the full team game, which really made a huge difference for that game.
Absolutely. I mean, the big thing was they got those kills, they get the tribute, but they did nothing of value with the tribute because you guys all soak the lanes, you hold them back, and they as a team don't do anything. Like they don't group up, try to pressure a fort since they can now walk up to it, and they get really nothing. But you guys win the game because you played the macro game essentially on the map instead of going for the kills, and that's actually reminiscent to the same problem which Rhythm had in Battlefield of Eternity. They had that major advantage for their mortal race phase. Instead, um, I'm actually shouting in the cast to not go and kill you because they're doing the most wrong thing possible right now, which is
Mhm.
killing you, and they lose the game off that. So yeah, it seems like you guys as a team have a much better sense and much better grasp of what it takes to win, and that like kills help you win, but macro and winning the game is based off usually the objectives in your macro decisions, not the individual kills.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely think that's true.
So my final question, uh, is there any advice you'd give to other teams, something that your team has learned maybe in the past month or 2 months that's really helped your team get better?
Hmm. So, yeah, so I guess the thing I really value about our team is that we don't just play to like play HOTS together. We actually really enjoy each other's perspective on things, and we have really good conversation, which is kind of a silly thing to say, but like I love playing with our team because we're so much fun to actually just like hang out and play, which is great because then when you're actually playing the game, you don't feel like you're like having to compete with the players on your team. You're
Mhm.
like an actual team and you're competing with the other team. So kind of like what we talked about earlier, a lot of the communication stuff comes across really easily because we all respect each other and enjoy each other's opinions, at least most of the time, and can kind of have a collective strategy when we're approaching our HOTS games. And I think that's really invaluable for the way that we play this game.
Yeah, that's definitely great advice. I can say that's probably a very hard thing. Group cohesion, essentially, between players on a team, where a lot of times people are kind of like they're just playing together because they're like, oh, you're pretty good, and I think we can make a good team. But in terms of personalities, you're not very
Compatible
yeah,
or
you're not
something
very
like that. Yeah.
compatible. Yeah, and it sounds like you guys are just great together, and it's kind of like, hey, you want to play some HOTS, and not even like competitive matches,
Oh
but
yeah.
like, yeah, because there's a lot of people out there they'll play on a team, but they'll like never talk to their team outside of those matches and scrims.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely not the case here. I feel like I talk to them too often, to be honest. So. Yeah.
Well, thanks again for the interview, and once again, congratulations to Jailbait for getting that domination victory, and good luck in your next matches.
Thank you. Thanks for casting.
Oh, no problem.
Have a great night.
You too. All right, guys. So that is cast for the next 20 minutes. I do not